So Dee is a singer, songwriter, and vocal coach who has collaborated with several successful movie directors and music producers in Indian cinema as a vocalist and lyricist. Her home base is Toronto. Make some noise! She's a lead singer in AGNI, and I've been trying to book them for 14 years unsuccessfully. So maybe now we have some friends and bonus points. For the last decade, she's R&B, neo-soul, Indian fusion, independent artist gigging in the city. She's releasing her solo music project in the upcoming year. She's a multilingual artist, sings in Tamil, yeah! Vanakkam! As well as Hindi and English. Some may describe her as a subtle fusion of East mixed with West, but we just like to call her Dee Awesome. I just made up that nickname for you. Come on up, Dee. Make some noise, y'all, please. Come on, DESIFEST-X, you can make a little bit more noise. Make some noise! They're all like, listen, man, we're old vocalists. We need our voice. We can't give it up all the time. But thank you so much for coming, man.
Thank you.
How's your reverb and all that?
I love it.
It's good? Does it sound good out there, guys? Yeah? Cool. So we're going to talk a little bit about music and journey and how her music career has taken her from Toronto now to India. And you know, being an artist is already challenging. Being a female artist is already challenging. Being a Tamil singing artist is like a next layer. So let's start with like, you know, we heard from Meena. She started singing at age 6 or something like that. I feel like you have a similar story. How did you get into music?
I think I started singing at 8. I think I heard a story. I'm like, 8! I know what that feels like. I used to put karaoke on at home after all my school sessions, and I knew that I was never an academic person. It's my sister excelled in school, and I was always like, teachers hate me. I'm always drawing in class, or I always want to sing. So I used to come home, turn on the karaoke machine, and go at it. That used to be my therapy. Started at 8, and then I got into Carnatic Indian classical music right after that.
How did one get into that, though? Like,
my mom's a Veena teacher.
Okay, great. Big shout out to parents, man. Woo!
So I got into Bharatnatyam as well as Carnatic music simultaneously. And my mom plays the Veena, and she's a professional at it. So I was like, and she used to sing me to sleep. She used to sing Lata Mangeshkar classics to me to sleep.
That's your, I read like kid stories. Ralph wrecking the internet books. You're getting like
no, my mom used to be like, and I was like, oh my God, wow. Give me more.
okay, keep going, yeah.
And so, and then I got into that, and I started Indian classical music, so that's where I began.
Do you remember some of your favorite early songs to like sing?
Yeah, I love the Khamoshi album. I used to listen to a lot of Bollywood songs.
Give me a little of like the 8-year-old song that you like.
Ye dil sun raha hai, mere dil ki zuban.
Oh, wow. That's the 8-year-old songs?
I know. No, but I wasn't 8. I guess I was like...
No, that's great, man.
10.
And what about pops? Like, were they like, go to school, your mom was like, no, I'm going to teach you music? Was there a duality in the home?
Oh, gosh. That's my whole story. You've basically asked me what content for 30 minutes. So my parents have groomed me to become an engineer. And that's what I ended up becoming. I'm an engineer from U of T.
Yay, make some noise, guys. Engineers. Woo!
They're like, whatever.
Oh my God.
Same old story, right? I never thought that pursuing music was a thing because my parents groomed me to be either an engineer or they said, we accept accounting and medicine as well. So you're going to go into one of those. They never mentioned law though, so that's weird. But
I was on the opposite. I never got medicine. I was like, man, they already knew I wasn't smart enough to be a doctor.
Some horoscope lady told my mom that I'm going to be like super intelligent and like pass some biggest exam in India and all that kind of thing. My mom stuck with that.
Were you born here? Or
I was born in Chennai.
Oh, you're born in Chennai. So you moved fairly early.
Yeah. Okay. So I was born in Chennai. I've lived in Malaysia. I've lived in Kuwait, Germany. And then we moved here when I was 13.
Okay. So you've had some South Asian experiences in other countries.
Yes.
And when you were thinking about classical music, did it always root back to like Chennai for you, or did other areas you lived in had a flavor of, music?
No, everywhere I went, my parents made sure to find me a Bharatnatyam teacher and a Carnatic music teacher.
Okay.
Everywhere. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're in your teenage years.
yes.
And now you don't have to do this, but you're still continuing music.
Yes.
And you're still studying to be an engineer. Where did you find like the duality or the interest? Like were you in your head going, this is going to be a side hustle, I'm still going to be an engineer, or the engineer is going to be a side hustle, I'm going to try to do as much music as I can?
I was in oblivion. At that time in my life, I was just trying to get through school because I didn't understand why I hated school so much. It wasn't for me. The creative arts wasn't made a priority in my life. My parents made sure to make me feel like the Bharatanatyam and the dancing and the singing was a side hustle, that if it came through to my grades, that it would be stopped right away. So I was mostly trying to hustle, trying to make sure that I did well in all three of them at the same time. And so I never even gave music or dance as a thought. I was like, I just need to get into this engineering school. Like, that's all I need to do. That's how my life was, yeah.
And at what point during that journey would you start to think about maybe music has a bit more opportunity for me? Because the last time we spoke, you mentioned about spending a decade with AGNI,
Yes.
like 10 years in a music band. That's a long time,
Yeah.
man. So how did that journey come about?
So actually, 16 was when I performed for the first time on stage as a solo artist. I'd been performing with a group of people at once since very young. But as a solo artist, I performed at 16 for the first time at my school talent show.
Wow.
And then I caught the bug, the singing bug. I was like, it was terrified. I've never been more terrified in my life. I was terrified. But ever since that day, I've performed at every school talent show, whether it be high school or university. And I just thought, this is the only thing that's able to get me through the calculus and physics I'm doing. So I may as well dedicate some time to it. And that's what I did.
Now, a lot of us that have done it for the first time always remember like what made us do it for the first time. Because fear is usually the biggest blocker, right?
Yeah.
So do you remember at 16, what made you fight through that fear to do it anyways?
I did it out of spite. I'll tell you why. Grade 9, there were a bunch of girls that I danced with at my school talent show. And then in grade 10, they were like, no, we don't need you. We're going to do it by ourselves. So then I was like, what? You're not going to, what, bitch? You're not going to do it by yourself. So I thought, hey, listen, this girl can sing. I've never tried auditioning as a solo act. And so I did it out of spite. I went at the audition. I said, I'm going to sing by myself. And I was like, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to sing by myself. And I showed them, and they were like, you're in. You're really good. And I was like, that's how it started.
That's
so
amazing,
thank you to the
man.
people thank you to the people who created the fire in me to do that.
Sometimes haters are good guys.
Haters are great.
You know, because you could channel that hate into, you know, having to do it anyways. Like when I was thinking about doing DESIFEST, I was volunteering for another organization. And I saw them spend so much money on artists from UK and India, and they would ask local artists to pay to perform. And I would say, look, man, there's so many young people in Toronto, Mississauga, like they don't need a lot of money, but they shouldn't have to pay to perform. Can you just put them on stage? And I, like you, she looked at me and said, man, Satish, you look like a smart guy, you know. If you want to like pay people to perform that are local, why don't you just do your own festival? And I was like, well, why don't I do my own festival? And then 14 years later, here we are. So
There you go.
I understand the feeling.
Thank you.
Make some noise for her, man.
And for him.
Do you remember that first song? Do you remember the?
Oh, God, yes, I do.
Do you want to do a little?
Oh, my God, okay. Actually, it was an English song, actually. It was from A Walk to Remember. It was called Only Hope. Who knows Only Hope in the crowd?
Okay.
Oh, I see some millennials. So, there's a song that's inside of my soul. It's the one that I've tried to write over and over again. I'm awake in the infinite cold, and you sing to me over and over and over again.
Wow, make some noise, y'all. See, the best part of my job is to like ask these crazy questions, and then you just do it, which is awesome.
I think I remember the lyrics.
So you're going through high school, now you're performing and all of these things. If you could go back to that younger version of yourself and give yourself some advice that would reflect today, because there's a lot of young people here what would you tell that young person who's trying to figure things out?
Courage. Please have the courage. You don't need to be perfect right away. You just need to start. And so most people who love to sing, who love to perform, who feel like I could be on stage, but I'm not ready yet, or I could be, but I'm not good as good as this person, or I'm not good as good as that person. Oh my God, forget all that. I think personally, just have the courage. If you know that you can bring something that makes your heart happy, doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. I think if I would tell my younger self, please have I wish you had the courage to tell your parents that that's what you wanted. Because today, my parents are like promoting me like all over the place. Everywhere they go, my daughter can sing, my daughter can sing. And then it's so amazing. And like, what my parents tell me today is we didn't know. And I was like, you didn't know? How's that possible? It's true. I kept it all within me. I didn't have the courage to say that I could be an artist because I didn't think that a person like me could be an artist.
Right. Make some noise, yo. Wow. That's deep. So let's unpack that a little bit, because a lot of us know this is what we want to do and how we feel, but our head stops us before the community, right? But the first time you heard somebody tell you you're not good, or the first roadblock that you faced from somebody else, whether it's industry, whether it's opportunity, do you have one that you can share and sort of how you reacted?
Yeah, so I'll fast forward to just 2 years back. I moved to Chennai as well as Mumbai. I was going back and forth because I have had a lot of networks in Kollywood as well as Bollywood here, performing with an Indian band for a decade, right? I went there and I was like, I quit my corporate job. I quit engineering 3 years ago. I told my dad, I was like, listen, this is happening. I know it from my heart that this is what I need to do. My dad didn't speak to me for a few weeks. That's okay.
My heartbeat is going for some reason. I don't know why. Talking to your parents.
Yeah, but they're so good. Like, they're so with me now. But this was my journey about 3 or 4 years ago. There's actually someone here in the audience that knows them.
Hey, big shout out to Sonny. Make some noise. He's going to be on stage soon.
So I went to India, and there I was like, okay, I'm in Chennai. I got there in December. I was like, where do I begin? This is like a new person from Canada. Nobody knows who I am. I knew someone who sang with A.R. Rahman, and I had kind of like made a contact with her pretty early on, and about 2 years prior to moving to India, and I said, I don't know if you guys know Sasha Tirupati. Yeah, so her and I connected when she came to perform with us in the band here that I sing with, AGNI. So I connected back with her when I went back to India, and Sasha helped me land an opportunity with a really well-known music director in Kollywood that she sings with all the time in March. And it was kind of like my birthday gift. I was born in March. And so that was my first, I was like, that's it. It's that easy. I got here. 3 months later, I'm going to be a Kollywood star, right? Like my own song. I had like my own, fully my vocals, like powerhouse female vocal song provided to me in a movie. 3 months later, the movie got shelved.
No.
Yeah.
Just like that?
Just like that. The movie director was like, I know how much this meant to you, but the distributor didn't pick up the movie. And I was like, are you serious?
Were you like, can I have one copy just for myself?
Serious. It was such a good song. And like, the music director had told me his children already loved it because he's played it in the car several times. And his 8-year-old was like, who's this girl? She needs to be famous or something, right? And I'm like, how is this happening to me? How is this happening to me? So how I dealt with that, I cried a lot. I mean, the reality is rejection hurts. When you had dream and then you feel like you're up there. There's somebody with 1 million followers sharing your work, and that's possible, and you're up there, and then all of a sudden you're not up there. That's the worst fall to have.
Yep.
It's like you knew that you have that potential, but then external circumstances bring you down. How did I deal with that? It took many months for me to realize that I need to pick myself back up and believe in myself to go again, but I did. So even if it takes time for me to do that, I take a few months if I have to believe that this setback can't stop me from trying. And then I landed with 4 other opportunities.
Wow.
So
make some noise, yo. Woo! So a lot of people that I meet in the industry, they're always like, "Man, put me on DESIFEST, and people will find me in India. Then I'm going to go to India, and then life is good." From seeing the engine that is India, I've heard horror stories of people that are just thrown into these like music factories, and a composer comes in or a director comes in, gives you some harmony thing, and then you're like working for 100 hours. What is the real, like, let's peel the curtain away? Like, what is life like if you're a musician in the engine that is India?
Yeah, be prepared to put in 100 hours for no pay. I feel like dropping names here, but maybe you guys can convince me if I should. There's a really famous movie director in India who's won international film awards. He called me into the studio. I actually canceled a flight to go to a studio because I'm like, there is no way I'm missing this opportunity. Spent 10 hours nearly recording a song for him and did not get paid.
Please tell me it's not AR.
No,
okay,
it's not. No, it's not. I think I've heard that he treats his singers better. And then I had another opportunity. I don't know how many of you know Kamal Hassan here in the crowd.
Kamal Hassan, yes.
So I had 2 hours with him in the studio where we wrote English lyrics to a song, and then I basically laid down the track. I was told that I was going to be the voice on the track, and I'm like, how is this happening to me? Like, veteran, right? And he's so amazing to work with. Like, he just got all these expressions out of me. He was dancing in front of me in order to get my voice to express a certain way. I can't believe I'm even saying that I had that opportunity with him. But guess what happened? They gave the song to someone more famous who sounds exactly like me.
Wow.
And
we hear that all the time, guys.
Yeah. And so I got to a point where I was just like, I guess this is normal. And I'm going to have to accept that rejection cannot stop me. And I think being rejected, being disappointed over and over again just led me down the path of loving myself more. Like, Dee, you're so strong. You can still keep going. Amazing. What can you not do is how I got to. Yeah.
That's amazing. Make some noise, yo. That's what we do. We share. So at some point you decided to come back, but along with some of the, Indian engine reaction, what are some of the things that made you happy you did it? What are some of the happy thoughts? What are some of the positives that if somebody wanted to take the risk no matter what, what is some of the positive?
Take it. I know I'm telling you all these sob stories and like negative stuff about it, but the reason I'm able to sit here and have a chat with him is because I have these stories to tell, and I have this experience that is now building in my own repertoire of work. I would never take back the last 3 years of rejection, disappointment, because I still got on a track, and now I still have 1 million views on YouTube. I still have that. And then I realized after that I need to come back to Toronto because there's the R&B scene in India wasn't really matching my expectations. I wanted to get more into the R&B scene. But what I would say to people is, following your dream isn't all that it's meant up to be. Like, people will say, you're following your dream, you're so courageous. But when you're actually in it, you feel like you have no courage. But as you go through it and then you see hindsight, you look back, like I'm looking back, I'm like, whoa, who is this girl? And how did I have so much courage to go as a solo female artist to India? And we all know what India can be like for a solo female artist. My parents were extremely worried about me. But, I followed my instinct. And I think the positives from all this was the opportunities I got, the people I met, the stories that I can now share, and the artist that I have become. And more importantly, the respect I have built for myself from even having the courage to take that journey, which is why I say just have the courage and try. You never know. You might go and you might have a different story than I did. You might have an even more successful one, or you might have the same and become a different person.
Incredible. Make some noise, yo. So you're back, and are you with AGNI again? What is the last 6 to 8 months like? How is your music career now evolving in Toronto?
Wow, I am so happy to be back. I was so homesick. I was so ready to be back, to be honest. How it's evolving. I've started to connect very closely with the R&B and hip-hop scene in Toronto. I'm continuing to perform with AGNI. So AGNI is a band that has been performing in Toronto for 20 years now, actually. And I've been with them for 10 of those 20. We are doing a show in Philadelphia soon, another show happening on December 7th. So I'm continuing to perform with them. So with them, I mostly perform Tamil and Hindi music and Bollywood, Kollywood type music. On my own in Toronto, I am starting to. I have to add this. I have a huge passion for doing what you're doing right now, which is bringing people on stage who have been seeking the opportunity to perform but just need a venue.
Come help us.
I honestly, it's my greatest passion because I know from just the story you've heard from me right now, what it takes to have the courage to speak up. And a lot of people just need to be pushed. So I do that. And I try to bring artists together. So I'm working through other platforms as well to bring other artists together in community spaces like this and to just promote their work, new artists, upcoming artists, whatever. For me, my passion right now is to build that community. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been writing a lot of new material. I've had writer's block for a while, and that has magically lifted. And there's this I have enough content for an EP, and so my content's going to be R&B with a lot of Eastern feel in it. I'm thinking of including my mom's Veena in there.
Oh wow! Okay, you should bring your mom and you and do a song here.
Right?
How many of you would like to see Dee and her mom live at DESIFEST-X?
Yes.
Already. One of the things that we talk about here, and some of people have said it in passing, writing is like the most interesting thing to get started. It's like the creative person is looking at a white piece of paper going, what do I start with? Circle, square, dot. So if somebody wants to start thinking about writing their own, content, what's the first step? How do you start to write content?
Write even if it looks like shit to you. I'd say the key to start writing is do it if you can. I know how hard it is, this word, non-judgment. Try not to be judgmental of your work, because I've written stuff from a decade ago that I read and I'm like, how the hell did I think that this was bad? This is gold. This is helping me today. I'll give you an example. Anybody know Harris Jairaj over here from Kollywood? Nice. So so I had a successful project turn out and his movie released with my voice in it. He called me into the studio and he goes, hey, we're going to write an English song together. I'm like, we are? Sweet. And he goes, I want this to be a Beyonce feel because the girl's badass and she's stepping out of her car and she's walking down the street and I want you to sing she owns the street. And I'm like, oh shit, okay. Here's this immense celebrity in Kollywood asking me to write a song. And I was like, okay, cool. And you know what I did? I went back to material I wrote 10 years ago on my laptop. I was like, oh my God, this is great. I'm glad I was not judgmental and actually poured my stuff on there because that's what helped me write the song. And that has a few 100,000 views on YouTube now. So all I'm going to say is write. Don't judge your work as you write it. One day you will go back and you will have a chance to refine it. You don't have to refine it as you write it.
Incredible, y'all. Make some noise and please start writing. And I told you before, you get funded whether it's good or not good because people just fund original music. So don't be judgmental. The money will help. And then eventually over time it'll get better. What's the big 2020 plan? How can they experience your content? What is a few things you want to get done for next year?
Yeah, I've been talking about this way too long. For next year, I'm going to definitely release a mixtape or an EP. I already have content for it. I'm working on it every day. Hoping to bring some real neo-soul R&B feeling, but had a subtle Eastern feel to it because it's unmistakable in my voice when I sing. You will hear a bit of South Asian flair in it. And I don't want to hide that. That is me. That is who I am. In my fashion, in my style, my parents' upbringing, and everything that they are. And I've started learning Carnatic music again. I stopped for some time and I'm back into it. And so that's really helping me bring more of that into my music. I'm going to continue attending showcases like this as well as helping maybe you curate and doing more of my community-type events because it brings me so much joy. I'm also a vocal coach and I'm trying to build my repertoire. I have so much passion to help other people just express themselves. So as a coach, I get to do that and it brings me joy. So I'm going to continue doing that. And you know what? I'm an engineer. So I'm still going to do a bit of contract work because I don't want to be a starving artist.
Yeah.
And I get to do part-time, very minimal work, make a little bit of money. I'm lucky that I get to do that. So
that's incredible. Maybe to that, you can add some coaching and mentoring for some of the people here.
I would love to.
If you want some coaching and mentoring from Dee, make some noise, yo. This is fantastic. I know you're going to sing something for us, but every time I interview an artist, I have to end with this question, which is, when you look at your music journey, music career, when do you start thinking about what is my impact in what I'm doing? And if you can pick the number one impact that in 20 years you're like, man, I did that, what would that be?
Oh my gosh, just people reaching out. Actually, it's already happening, and maybe on a bigger scale, just people reaching out to me saying, you're the reason I'm an artist today.
On that note, make some noise for Dee.